Good morning, folks! Today I am going to show you my 30 minutes morning routine. These are habits that I consistently do every morning. They help me get ready physically and mentally, and start the day on the right foot. I don't know what is about other small YouTubers, but I usually have dreams about million subscribers, a penthouse in the center of London, and a private jet to travel around the world without traffic jams. Dreams that harshly cut off by my morning alarm. At 4:30 a.m. my phone pulls me out of my sleep. Good morning, reality. A couple of subscribers, a rented apartment in Camden, and no private boat. Not even the cheapest skateboard. But before jumping out of bed, I give my body a few minutes to wake up for whatever the day brings, and run a health check via welltory. This app measures my stress and productivity levels by analyzing my heart rate variability. In other words, with what frequency my heart beats and whether the interval between adjacent beats changes. Basically, the rhythm should be inconsistent and jump back and forth. Yet I am not confident about that. I am still kind of experimenting by using a free version and testing myself 3 times a day. The metric seems to be correct or somehow accurate. My heart rate is always so low, especially in the morning. I am a runner. At night it can even drop to 45 beats, which is absolutely normal. The rest of the numbers, who knows? For now, I just try to compare my internal evaluation with them, whether they match or not. Finally, with boundless optimism in my eyes, I jump out of my bed and open the balcony to say good morning to the world. Sunny morning does not always mean a warm one. It's often cold out there till noon. After taking a few fresh breaths, it's time to stretch my body. Nothing too fancy or hard. Just to get warm and shake off the last drops of night sleep laziness. A couple of twists and turns, and the final stretch. Touchdown. It means chair days have not yet come. The finishing stroke is a plank for 2 free minutes. If you think that 2 free minutes is too simple, kind a piece of cake, then you have never done planks in your life. Only in this position, the clock second hand, by some universal meanness, is like stopping at each cutoff for half an hour. Time seems to freeze and watching you with curiosity. Will you make it or give up? Well, and the main reason for my morning dialogue with the timer and drops of sweat on my forehead is the dream to have flat, sexy abs. Someday. Moving on. Our brain has a tendency to seek comfort and do whatever is easiest at the moment, which is not a very good way to function if you aspire to level up in any area of your life. That was bad news. And the good news is that our brain is pretty easy to fool. You just need to build momentum by doing something hard that you don't really feel like doing. For me, it's planks and making the bed. By doing this, I am telling my brain that I am in control of my life. I'm also giving myself a small sense of accomplishment by finishing this task first things in the morning. Finally, I get out of my pajamas into some fresh clothes. Usually it's short and a t-shirt. It's also kind of another rule that helps me stay disciplined and feel like a slow. And yes, I always had things so neatly folded. And yes, I am a perfectionist. And this is not always a plus, sometimes even a minus. And the pajamas that landed beautifully on the bed was a stage shot. It was also neatly folded and hidden under the pillow. Next step is a glass of water. In my case, a bottle of water. But I don't drink it all. It would be too much. A few large chugs in order to wake up my stomach. It also needs to be waken up in the morning, if you will, like brush its teeth and rinse its mouth, figuratively speaking. Now it's time to head straight into the bathroom and brush my teeth. Slippers. You got this. Everything is along the line and in its own place, even in the bathroom. I feel that I need to make a separate video on this topic. Yet before brushing my teeth, I need to brush my aligners. Well, if it happens you find yourself in the dentist chair and are being assured that you will need to wear aligners only for a few months, don't believe it. Everybody lies, especially dentists. Then cleaning my face. I like my skincare routine to be straightforward. No need to spend an hour in the bathroom and slap on 10 different products. It's definitely not about me. And about me, just 2 products. A cleanser and a moisturizer. Simple, yet super effective. The final check is everything is in order and under control, then comb my hair as well as I can, and wink or give a high five at the end. It creates a sort of champagne moment. If you can win with the morning, you can win the day. Now it's time to freshen up my brain and give it a little dopamine hit by playing a few games. Lumosity, a controversial brain training app. Each game is designed to challenge a specific cognitive ability: memory, attention speed, flexibility, or problem solving. Well, whether it works or not, I don't know. But I feel a lot better, fresh and inspired by beating my previous scores. Also, I used these 10 minutes of playing 5 random games as an indicator of my brain freshness. Did I get enough sleep? Can I focus on several objects at the same time? How I am doing in general? Answers to these questions will help me plan the day ahead later. And to get the most out of these 10 minutes, I use them to massage my feet, which is often sore, especially in the morning after a long run the night before. Well, later today they will need to run again. Finally, when my brain powers up and I am ready to take on, I plan the day. Well, if I was asked to keep only one habit for my morning routine, it would be for sure this one. It single-handedly changed my life completely. Everything else is the spices that add flavor, and this one is meat and bones of my productive system. All my daily tasks I store in the Todoist, a simple task management application. I also bullet journal on the regular basis. It is the place where all my different trackers and collections live. Recently, I also started using Notion. It replaced Whitebear application where I stored notes for read books and studied courses, different checklists and future plans. And in a nutshell, I look through all my tools, update or change something, complete old or add new, spend no more than 5 minutes on average. At the end, I write out all the most important planned tasks for today in a notebook, which is always with me, at home, on the road and at work. And that is it. You may certainly ask what is about meditation, reading or at least some proper exercising. Well, this all sounds reasonable. You've just named great mindful practices that I have done before and recently removed from my morning routine. In all honesty, I enjoyed these practices and was often inspired by them, until the moment I found them taking up too much of my mornings that could have been devoted to productive work. As the clock ticks on, we have less creative energy in our tanks. As the day goes on, decision fatigue sets in, and I become less and less productive. The last hours of my day is rarely the time when I have breakthrough ideas for my YouTube videos. I want to have some balance for my personal well-being, but I also want to get things done, sometimes even more than balance my personal well-being. That is why instead of focusing so much on these mindful practices, I get straight to work. In other words, after drawing up a plan for the day, I immediately began to implement it. To be precise, the section related to YouTube channel. I write scripts, shoot something or edit what have already been filmed. Here you can ask then, what is about new videos? Well, they are in progress. I just write scripts very slowly. Or rather, I now write scripts instead of improvising, and shoot a large number of B-rolls. These are the very frames where I am behind the camera. It's like a movie and requires hard work. And then I mount it all, redoing the same 5-second piece again and again. So far everything is very complicated and very slow, but I am working on it. But frankly speaking, I don't completely give up these mindful practices. They are not part of my morning routine now, yet they're still in my life, although might not be all the time. For instance, I usually like to save meditation as a buffer between activities, after getting back from the office and before going for a run. It helps me to transit into a less creative mindset. As I'm serious about running and often do long runs, 5-10 miles, it drains lots of energy, so I prefer to exercise later in the evening, when everything important is already done. And finally, reading. A great way to spend the final hour of the day. No rush, just lay down on the couch and read for an hour. A great way to calm down my racing mind and prepare it for sleep. Having said all this, it doesn't mean that I meditate or read regularly. It doesn't stick in stones, but I for sure run every other day. The finishing touch. Before heading to the office and have some breakfast, I call my mom. Well, it may sound childish, but I call my mom every morning. Not because I ought to, but because I want to. And I miss her so much. This is the first time in my life when we are so far apart, and I am desperately worried about her. How she is there, without my support, without my love, daily hugs and kisses. Mom is the most important person for me. She gave me life. Thanks to her perseverance and still temper, I graduated from the university as a software developer, not a money agent as I dreamed in my youth. And now I live here in London and work at Google. And each of our video calls give me warmth and saturates with energy until the next call, and reduces the waiting time when we finally hug again. Here you can grin and roll your eyes. But there is one thing. Our parents are not ageless. The time will come. It will be their last day on this planet. And I don't want to waste an hour without hearing my mom's voice, talking to her and saying how much I love and miss her. Don't waste your time too. Call your parents.